My beloved child, do not leave this message. Something happened this morning inside the home of the person you love, and it began with your name. For a long time, they avoided this conversation. They rehearsed it silently, while driving, while lying awake at night, while standing in rooms filled with people who believed they understood them. They imagined how their father would react. They predicted the questions, the disappointment, the silence, and the possibility that speaking honestly would change the way their family saw them forever. That fear kept them quiet. But this morning, something inside them became stronger than the fear. They sat across from their father, looked down at their hands, took one slow breath, and finally said, "I need to tell you about someone." Their father did not immediately respond. He had heard changes in their voice before. He had noticed how your person became distant whenever conversations turned toward relationships, marriage, or the future. He had watched them become quieter over the past several months. He had seen them smile at their phone, then suddenly place it face down when someone entered the room. He knew there was a story. He just did not know it was about you. Do not skip this part, because the first thing your person said was not what their father expected. They did not begin by describing how you look. They did not talk about your background, your work, your circumstances, or the things families usually ask about first. They said, "This person saw me when I was pretending to be fine." That sentence changed the atmosphere. Your person's father leaned back and listened more carefully. Your person explained that you entered their life during a season when they were carrying more than anyone around them realized. They had learned how to smile while feeling empty. They knew how to continue responsibilities, answer questions, attend gatherings, and appear completely normal. But you noticed. You heard sadness beneath ordinary words. You sensed when their silence meant more than tiredness. You recognized the moments when they needed kindness, but did not know how to ask for it. Your person told their father that being seen by you felt beautiful at first. Then it became frightening, because once someone truly sees you, pretending becomes harder. Your person had built their entire life around emotional control. They revealed only what felt safe. They shared feelings after those feelings had already been processed, organized, and made presentable. But with you, emotions arrived before they could hide them. You reached parts of them they had protected for years. And instead of using that vulnerability against them, you handled it gently. Their father listened without interrupting. Your person continued. They admitted that the connection became serious in their heart, before they were ready to accept it. They thought about you during ordinary moments. They imagined conversations with you, before going to sleep. They began measuring future decisions by whether those decisions would bring them closer to you, or create more distance. This frightened them, because they had not planned for you. Their life already carried expectations. Their family may have imagined a certain kind of future. There may have been opinions about who they should love, when they should settle down, what kind of partner would fit the family, and how important decisions should be made. Your person knew that bringing you into the conversation could create questions they did not yet know how to answer. So they hid the connection. At first, they called the silence protection. They told themselves they were protecting you from family pressure. They said they were protecting their father from worry. They believed they were protecting themselves from making promises before they felt ready. But this morning, they admitted the deeper truth. They were not protecting the connection. They were protecting their fear, Their father's expression changed when he heard this. He asked, "Did this person know how you felt?" Your person looked away. That question carried more weight than all the others. They answered honestly. Not clearly. 2 words. But those words exposed everything. They told their father that you probably sensed the love, but you were forced to interpret it through inconsistent behavior. There were moments when your person became warm, open, and emotionally present. Then fear returned, and they became distant. They gave you closeness without security. They gave you signs without certainty. They allowed you to feel important in private, while leaving you confused about your place in their life. Your person's father asked why. They could have blamed timing. They could have blamed circumstances. They could have blamed family pressure. Instead, they said, "Because I was afraid that if I admitted how much they meant to me, I would have to become brave." That may be the most important sentence in this message. Your person did not fear love because the connection was weak. They feared it because the connection demanded change. Loving you honestly would require them to stop allowing other people to define their future. It would require them to speak when silence felt safer. It would require them to risk disappointing people whose approval had shaped their life. It would require them to stop being the version of themselves who always kept peace by abandoning personal truth. Their father understood more than your person expected. He did not immediately approve or disapprove. He asked another question. "Did you hurt them?" Your person's eyes filled with emotion. They said yes. Not because they wanted to. Not because they enjoyed creating distance. But good intentions do not erase painful behavior. Your person admitted that their silence caused you to question yourself. They recognized that you may have wondered whether you were too emotional, too demanding, too difficult to love, or simply not enough to inspire a clear decision. They told their father that none of those things were true. You were not the problem. The problem was that they wanted the comfort of your love, without immediately accepting the responsibility of loving you properly. They wanted to know you were there. They wanted to feel the connection. They wanted the warmth, the understanding, and the emotional safety you offered. But whenever the relationship required public courage, direct communication, or a clear choice, they retreated. They admitted this without defending it. Their father remained quiet. Sometimes a parent does not need many words to make a child feel the full truth of what they have done. Your person continued speaking, because once honesty began, they could no longer stop it. They told their father about the last time you tried to reach them emotionally. Perhaps you said, "I cannot keep guessing." Perhaps you asked, "What am I to you?" Perhaps you gave them one final opportunity to speak honestly. Your person remembered the exhaustion in your voice. At the time, they interpreted it as pressure. This morning, they admitted it was pain. You were not forcing them into a decision. You were asking them to stop holding your heart inside uncertainty. You needed to know whether you were building something together, or waiting alone. Your person did not answer clearly. They changed the subject, they delayed, they asked for more time, or they allowed the conversation to end without giving you anything solid to carry. Their father asked what happened next. Your person said, "They stopped chasing me." The words came out quietly. Their father asked whether you stopped caring. Your person shook their head. "No," they said. "I think they stopped losing themselves." That answer matters. Your person finally understands that your distance was not proof that the love disappeared. It may have been the first act of self-respect. you had chosen in a long time. You realized that loving someone did not require you to remain permanently available to their fear. You could understand their wounds, without allowing those wounds to become your daily reality. You could hope for their growth, without placing your life on hold. Your person's father saw the regret in their eyes. He asked the question your person had been afraid to hear: do you still love them? This time, there was no hesitation. Yes, their father asked. Then why are you speaking to me instead of them? The room became silent. Your person had no immediate answer, because the question revealed another form of hiding. It was easier to confess to their father than to risk speaking directly to you. Their father may have been difficult to face, but you carried the power to reject them. You carried the power to say the truth arrived too late. You could tell them you had moved forward. You could forgive them, but refused to reopen the door. Your person was not afraid, only of family reaction. They were afraid of your response. Their father recognized this. He told them, you cannot ask someone to believe in a love you are still afraid to speak. That sentence stayed in the room. Your person looked down at their phone. Your name may still be there. The conversation may still exist. The last message may still be unanswered. For months, they told themselves, they needed the perfect moment. But their father made them understand that perfection had become another excuse. You did not need a perfect confession. You needed an honest one. Your person then revealed something else. They had recently learned that you may be preparing to make an important change. Perhaps you are considering a new relationship. Perhaps you are moving away. Perhaps you are emotionally closing the chapter. Perhaps you have finally stopped waiting for the message they kept delaying. This knowledge created urgency. Not the controlling urgency that says you must choose them immediately. The sobering urgency of realizing that silence eventually becomes an answer. Their father listened, then he asked, are you speaking because you are ready to love them, or because you are afraid someone else will? Your person could not respond quickly. They understood the difference. Fear of losing you is not the same as readiness to build with you. Jealousy is not transformation. Missing you is not accountability. Regret is not proof of change. Their father was not trying to discourage them. He was trying to make sure that if they returned, they did not repeat the same cycle. Your person had to examine whether they wanted another chance, or simply relief from the fear that you had moved on. They sat with the question. Then they said something their father had never heard from them before. I do not want them back just so I can feel safe again. I want to become someone who makes them feel safe. That was the moment the conversation changed. Their father said that this was not only a confession of love. It was a confession of responsibility. Your person began explaining what they were prepared to do differently. But before they could finish, their father told them something unexpected. He already knew more about you than your person realized. Someone had spoken to him before. Someone had told him what happened between you, and what their father revealed next made your person understand that your story had been discussed inside the family long before this morning. He knew about a message. He knew about a choice you made. And he knew that one person in the family may have helped create the distance between you. Your person looked at their father in shock. They asked, how long have you known? Their father took a breath. Then he began telling the truth. Part 2. Their father knew you had tried. There are truths that remain hidden, not because no one knows them, but because everyone waits for someone else to speak first. Your person's father had known pieces of your story for longer than they imagined. He had heard your name before this morning, not from your person, from someone else. Perhaps a sibling, relative, mutual connection, or person close to the family mentioned you during a conversation. Your name was presented carefully, almost casually, as though the connection had been small and temporary. They told the father that you had become emotionally attached. They suggested you wanted more than your person could offer. They may have described you as impatient, dramatic, demanding, or unwilling to understand family responsibilities. The story was designed to make your person appear trapped between a difficult relationship and a concerned family. For a while, the father accepted what he heard. He did not know you. He had not spoken to you. He only had the version presented by people he trusted. But something about the story never felt complete. Your person did not behave like someone relieved to escape an unhealthy connection. They behaved like someone grieving. They became withdrawn. They stopped speaking openly. They grew irritated when anyone suggested another relationship. They may have agreed politely to family conversations, while emotionally disappearing from them. Their father noticed. He began wondering whether you had truly caused the pain, or whether losing you had. This morning, he finally told your person what he knew. Months earlier, someone had shown him a message connected to you. Perhaps it was a screenshot, a letter, or words repeated from a private conversation. The message did not sound like the person others described. It was not aggressive, it was not controlling. It was not an attempt to pull your person away from their family. You wrote with sadness, but also with dignity. You said you cared deeply. You said you understood that your person was under pressure. You said you never wanted to become a source of conflict, but you could no longer remain in a connection where love existed only in hidden moments. You needed honesty. You needed consistency. You needed your person to stop allowing others to define what the relationship meant. Their father remembered one line especially. I am not asking them to choose against their family. I am asking them to stop choosing against themselves. When he repeated that line this morning, your person became still. Those words captured what they had been unable to explain. You were not asking them to destroy anything. You were asking them to live truthfully. Their father admitted that after reading the message, he began questioning the story he had been told. You did not sound selfish. You sounded tired. You did not sound as though you wanted control. You sounded as though you were trying to release a situation that had already begun controlling you. The father asked the person who showed him the message whether your person had received it. The answer was unclear. Someone may have said it was not the right time. Someone suggested the message would only make your person more confused. Some may have promised to handle it, but nothing was handled. The message never became the honest conversation it should have created. Your person's father regretted not asking more questions. He told himself that adult relationships were not his responsibility. He believed your person would speak when ready. He did not understand that silence was becoming the force shaping everyone's decisions. Do not skip this part, because the father then revealed that someone had intentionally minimized your efforts. You had tried more than once. Perhaps you asked for a conversation. Perhaps you sent a message after the separation. Perhaps you offered one final opportunity for your person to explain. Each attempt was presented differently inside the family. Your request for clarity became pressure. Your emotional honesty became drama. Your boundary became abandonment. Your decision to stop chasing became proof you never cared. Your person listened as their father explained this. They felt anger rising, but the father stopped them from directing all responsibility outward. He said, "People may have influenced the situation, but you made it possible by refusing to speak." That was difficult to hear. Your person wanted to focus on the interference. They wanted to blame the person who distorted your words. They wanted to become furious about the message they may not have fully received. But their father was right. If your person had communicated directly with you, no one else's interpretation would have carried so much power. If they had asked what you felt, other people could not have answered for you. If they had told the family clearly that the connection mattered, your name could not have been reduced to a problem discussed behind closed doors. Their silence did not create every lie, but it gave the lies room to grow. Your person's father told them that accountability must come before reunion. They could not approach you as though they were only a victim of family interference. They had choices. They had opportunities. They chose fear repeatedly. This morning, your person admitted it. Said, "I let people believe things about them, because correcting the story would have forced me to admit the truth." Their father asked what truth. Your person answered, "That I loved them." The confession was no longer hidden. Their father heard the weight inside it. Your person went on. They explained that denying your importance had protected them from conflict. As long as they described the connection as uncertain, everyone around them could pretend it would disappear. But it did not disappear. It became quieter, heavier, more difficult to escape. Your person tried to move forward. They may have spoken with someone else. They may have attended family gatherings, where another person was introduced as a possibility. They may have allowed photographs, conversations, or appearances that made it look as though they had chosen another path. But none of it felt real. They were physically present and emotionally absent. Their father had noticed. He told your person that during one gathering, he watched them look at their phone several times. Everyone assumed they were distracted. The father now believed they were hoping for a message from you. Your person did not deny it. They admitted that even after the silence, they continued checking whether you had reached out. They expected you to keep trying, while giving you no proof that trying was safe. They now saw the unfairness. Their father asked, "What would you have done if they had kept chasing you?" Your person thought carefully. The honest answer frightened them. They might have continued delaying. Your love may have allowed them to remain unchanged. As long as you stayed, they could believe there was still time. Your distance forced consequence into the story. It showed them that love can be real and still leave when it is not honored. This morning, their father helped them understand that your boundary may have been the most loving thing either of you experienced. By stepping away, you stopped rewarding the silence. You stopped carrying both sides of the relationship. You allowed your person to encounter the emptiness their choices created. That emptiness has been teaching them, not quickly, not painlessly, but deeply. Your person told their father that they finally understood the difference between being loved and being entitled to someone's patience. You may still love them, but that does not mean you owe them endless waiting. You may understand their fear, but that does not require you to return to the same uncertainty. You may forgive them, but trust must still be rebuilt. Their father nodded. Then he asked whether your person was prepared to accept a response they did not want. This question mattered. True accountability gives the other person freedom. If your person contacts you only to secure reunion, their confession becomes another form of pressure. They must tell the truth because you deserve it, not because they believe honesty purchases immediate access to your heart. Your person said they understood, but their father challenged them further. He said, "If they say no, will you return to the same fear?" Your person became quiet. Their growth could not depend entirely on your answer. They needed to establish boundaries, speak honestly, and stop living according to other people's plans, whether or not you reopened the relationship. Otherwise, their transformation would be temporary. It would be motivated by panic rather than truth. Your person looked at their father and said, "I have to change even if I have already lost them." That was the sentence their father needed to hear. He realized your person was finally beginning to separate love from possession. They did not own your future. They did not deserve another chance, simply because they now regretted the past. But they could still become honest. They could correct the false story. They could apologize. They could choose freedom. Their father then revealed another truth. The family may have been preparing a future for your person, without asking what they truly wanted. A relationship, commitment, move, or life decision had been discussed, as though your person would eventually agree. The father admitted that he had participated in some of those conversations. He believed stability mattered more than emotion. He thought your person would be safer, choosing a path the family understood. But this morning, after hearing your person speak about you, he saw something he had missed. A safe-looking life can still become a prison when it requires someone to live dishonestly. He told your person, "I do not want you to build a life you will secretly resent us for." Your person was shocked. They expected resistance. Instead, their father was beginning to release control. He did not promise that every family member would agree. He did not claim that all concerns had disappeared. He simply acknowledged that the final choice belonged to your person. This mattered more than immediate approval. Your person had spent years believing that choosing for themselves meant losing their father's love. This morning, they discovered that fear may not have been entirely true. The father may struggle. He may ask questions. He may need time. But he did not want obedience purchased through lifelong unhappiness. He told your person that if you were truly important, they needed to act with integrity, not secretly, not impulsively, not by making promises they could not keep. They needed to speak directly to you, explain what happened, and accept responsibility. They also needed to tell the family clearly that no one could contact you, speak for you, or manipulate the outcome again. Your person agreed. Then their father told them something else. He had received new information about you. You may have recently said something about the connection. You may have told someone how you truly feel now, and what you said was not the answer your person expected. They believed you hated them. They believed you had completely erased the love. But according to their father, that was not what you said. You said you had forgiven them. You said part of you still cared. But you no longer trusted the version of them who disappeared whenever fear arrived. Those words entered your person deeply. You did not need proof that feelings existed. You needed proof that the pattern had changed. Their father looked at them and said, "Then do not contact them with another feeling. Contact them with a different pattern." Your person understood. They opened their phone. They began writing a message. But before sending it, They decided there was one conversation they needed to have first. They needed to confront the person who distorted your words. They needed to correct the story inside the family. And they needed to end the plan for a future they had never freely chosen. What happened during that confrontation revealed whether your person's courage was real. Part 3. This time, they did not back down. The conversation with their father gave your person something they had not possessed before. Papamention was not the most important gift. Clarity was. For years, your person confused family disagreement with family abandonment. They believed that if they chose a path others questioned, love would be withdrawn. This fear shaped their silence. It taught them to avoid direct answers. It allowed other people to become decision-makers inside their emotional life. But this morning, their father showed them that love and disagreement could exist together. That realization changed the next conversation. Your person left the room where they had spoken with their father and went directly to the individual who had helped distort your story. This may have been a family member, close friend, former partner, or someone who believed your connection threatened the future they wanted. Your person did not begin by shouting. They asked a question. Did you tell them I had chosen someone else? The other person became defensive. They may have said they were only trying to help. They claimed you needed to move on. They suggested that your person was confused and incapable of making a decision. They may have said it was better for everyone if the connection ended quietly. Your person listened. In the past, these explanations would have weakened them. They would have questioned whether speaking honestly was selfish. They would have allowed concern to disguise control. But this morning, they heard the difference. Helping someone does not require lying. Protection does not require withholding messages. Love does not require making decisions for another adult. Your person asked another question. Did you show my father only part of what they wrote? The silence answered. Perhaps the person removed context. Perhaps they highlighted emotional lines, while ignoring the parts where you asked for honesty and boundaries. Perhaps they made your pain appear unstable, because acknowledging its cause would have forced everyone to confront your person's behavior. Your person felt anger. But they remembered their father's warning. Blame could become another way to avoid accountability. So they said, "You should not have done that, but I should never have allowed you to speak for me." This response changed the balance. The other person expected your person to focus entirely on betrayal. Instead, they took ownership. They admitted their silence created space for interference. They made it clear that the pattern would end. No one contacts them for me. No one explains my feelings. No one decides what they should know. And no one uses my family to pressure them again. The person argued. They warned your person that contacting you would reopen conflict. They suggested you had already moved on. They said you might reject them. Your person answered, "That is their choice." This was new. Before, fear of your answer controlled them. Now they were willing to respect your freedom. They understood that telling the truth did not guarantee the outcome. It only restored honesty. The person then mentioned the future plan. Perhaps a family-approved relationship had been discussed. Perhaps an engagement, move, or commitment was approaching. They reminded your person of promises, expectations, and the embarrassment that changing direction might create. Your person felt the old guilt rising. They imagined relatives talking. They imagined disappointment. They imagined being accused of selfishness. For a few seconds, the safer path looked tempting. Continue with the plan. Remain silent. Let time remove you completely. But then they remembered what they told their father. I want to become someone who makes them feel safe. Safety cannot be built by repeating the same fear. Your person took a breath and said, I will not continue with a future I did not choose. Those words were not only about you. They were about reclaiming their life, even if you never returned. They could no longer live inside a decision made to keep everyone else comfortable. The other person accused you of changing them. Your person responded, they helped me see what I was already afraid to face. This distinction mattered. You did not control them. You revealed the cost of being controlled. You showed them how it felt to be known. You made authentic emotion possible. But the decision to change belonged to them. The conversation became tense. Someone may have cried. Someone may have raised their voice. Someone may have reminded your person of family sacrifice. But your person remained present. They did not disappear. They did not say whatever was necessary to end the discomfort. They allowed the other person to be disappointed. This was one of the most difficult lessons they had ever learned. Someone's disappointment does not automatically mean you have harmed them. Sometimes, people become upset because a pattern that benefited them is ending. Boundaries can feel like rejection to those accustomed to unlimited access. Your person stayed calm. They said they would not attack the family. They would not expose private matters unnecessarily. They would not create drama. But they would also not participate in deception. The plan involving another person was stopped. The false story about you was corrected. And your person made it clear that they would contact you directly. Do not skip what happened next. Their father heard part of the confrontation. He saw your person holding their ground. This was not the child who approached him earlier with a trembling voice. Something had shifted, not completely. Transformation is not finished in one morning. But courage had become action. Their father approached your person afterward. He asked whether they were ready to contact you. Your person said, I do not know if anyone is ever completely ready for the truth. Their father answered, then be honest, not perfect. Your person returned to their room. They closed the door. They opened your conversation. For a long time they did not type. They looked at your last message. Perhaps it had been months. Perhaps the final words were simple. Take care. I wish you well. I cannot keep doing this. Those words may have appeared calm, but your person now understood what existed beneath them. You were trying to leave without cruelty. You were choosing peace while still carrying love. Your person began writing. The first version was emotional. I miss you. I cannot stop thinking about you. I learned the truth. They deleted it. Those statements were real, but incomplete. You already knew feelings existed. Feelings were never the only problem. The problem was whether those feelings could become reliable behavior. They began again. This morning, I finally told my father about you. I told him I love you. I also admitted that I hurt you by staying silent. I learned that your words were not always shared honestly, but I understand that my fear allowed other people to speak for me. I am sorry. They paused, then they continued. I have ended the situation others were planning for me. I have told my family that no one will contact you or make decisions on my behalf again. I am not asking you to trust me immediately. I am asking whether you would allow me to tell you the full truth. This message was different. It did not demand. It did not promise the impossible. It did not use love as pressure. It offered accountability and choice. Their father read it only if your person chose to show him. He may have suggested one final change. He said, "Tell them you will respect their answer." Your person added, "If you no longer want this conversation, I will respect that. You deserved honesty long ago, and I am sorry I waited until now." They stared at the message, their finger hovered over the screen, fear returned. What if you ignored it? What if you had already built something new? What if you read the message and felt nothing? What if the words reopened wounds but changed nothing? Their father stood nearby or waited outside the room. He did not push. Your person had to choose courage for themselves. After a long silence, they pressed send. The message traveled toward you. For the first time, there was no family member carrying the truth, no friend translating the emotion, no hidden conversation, only your person speaking directly. But the moment the message was sent, another fear appeared. Your person realized that one confession could not prove transformation. You might listen, you might even forgive them, but what would happen when family pressure returned? What would happen after the emotional urgency faded? Would they remain honest on ordinary days? Would they communicate when conflict appeared? Would they still choose courage when they no longer feared losing you immediately? Their father asked these same questions. He said, "Do not make them believe in a change you have only practiced for one morning." Your person understood. They needed to prepare for the longer work. They needed to become consistent. They needed to accept that trust might return slowly. They needed to stop treating every delay in your response as rejection. They needed to give you the patience they once expected from you. This is where their father gave them one final piece of advice. He said, "If they answer, listen before you explain." Your person had spent so much time thinking about their own side, that they never fully heard yours. Now they would need to sit with your anger, grief, and questions. They could not interrupt every painful truth with an excuse. They could not make your emotions about their guilt. They would have to hear what their silence cost you. And if you said the relationship could not be rebuilt, they would have to accept that love does erase consequences. Your person agreed. Then the phone moved, a notification appeared. Perhaps it was you. Perhaps it was not. Their heart raced. They reached for the screen. And what they saw determined whether the conversation would open. The final part reveals what you must listen for if they return, what their father truly thinks about you, and the one statement your person made this morning that proves their feelings were deeper than anyone knew. Part 4. What they said about you changed their father. Heart, my beloved child. This is the part you needed to hear. Your person did not simply tell their father that they missed you. They did not describe you as someone they could not forget. They said something much deeper. They told him, "When I was with them, I felt like I could finally become honest." That sentence changed their father's understanding. Until this morning, he may have believed you were only a romantic attachment, a connection creating conflict, uncertainty, or distraction. But your person described something more meaningful. You did not encourage them to abandon responsibility. You encouraged them to stop abandoning themselves. You did not tell them to disrespect family. You showed them that love without personal truth becomes performance. You did not demand perfection. You asked for courage. Their father realized that your influence was not destroying your person. The fear of losing you was exposing the life they had been living, dishonestly. Your person told their father that you made them want to become better. Not more impressive, more honest. Around you, they wanted to communicate. They wanted to heal old wounds. They wanted to understand why conflict frightened them so much. They wanted to become someone capable of staying present instead of disappearing. Their father listened. He began seeing you differently. He still may have questions. A parent's concerns do not disappear in one conversation. He may want to know whether the relationship can be healthy, stable, and respectful, but he no longer believes silence is the solution. He understands that your person must speak directly and accept the outcome. This morning, he told your person, if this person brought truth out of you, then treat them with truth. That is what you needed to hear. Your person finally has someone inside the family telling them not to hide. Their father is not promising to control everyone else. He is not saying the path will be easy. But he is refusing to participate in the silence that hurt both of you. He told your person that if they truly love you, they must stop using family expectations as an excuse. They must create boundaries respectfully. They must correct misinformation. They must protect private conversations. And they must never again allow your place in their life to become something others discuss, while you remain uninformed. This is a major shift. But remember, a shift is not yet a pattern. Your person still has to prove that courage continues beyond this morning. If their message reaches you, do not measure change only through the emotion of the confession. Listen for accountability. Do they say, "My family kept us apart"? Or do they say, "My family influenced me, but I chose silence"? The second statement shows maturity. Do they blame the person who distorted your words? Or do they also acknowledge that direct communication would have prevented much of the misunderstanding? Do they ask you to forget the past? Or do they understand that trust must be rebuilt, slowly? Do they respect your need for time? Or do they create urgency because they fear losing you? These differences matter. Your person may cry. They may say they love you. They may explain that they have thought about you every day. Those feelings may be genuine. But you deserve more than genuine emotion. You deserve safe behavior. Ask the question their father asked them. What will you do differently? Their answer should be practical. They will communicate directly. They will not disappear when pressure arrives. They will tell you when they are afraid, instead of using silence as protection. They will establish boundaries with family. They will stop allowing another person to be presented as their choice. They will correct the false story about you. They will accept that forgiveness does not automatically restore trust, and they will respect your decision. If their answer contains only promises, remain observant. If it contains actions already taken, something meaningful may be beginning. You do not need to decide everything immediately. This is important. A dramatic confession can make the heart feel as though the entire future must be chosen in one moment. It does not. You can agree to one conversation without promising reunion. You can listen without surrendering your boundaries. You can forgive without returning to the old relationship. You can still love them and require evidence that the pattern has changed. Your person's father understands this. He told them that you may no longer be waiting in the same place. You have lived through the silence. You have grown. You have learned to protect your energy. You may have built a life that no longer revolves around whether your person becomes ready. That growth should not be erased. If your person truly loves you, they will not ask you to become smaller, so they can feel secure again. They will meet the stronger version of you. They will respect your questions. They will listen when you explain what happened from your side. They will not become defensive when your truth is uncomfortable. Do not skip this next truth. Your person told their father that the thing they miss most is not simply your presence. They miss who they were around you. You reflected a version of them that felt free. They could be vulnerable. They could admit fear. They could imagine a future based on choice rather than obligation. When they lost the connection, they lost access to that reflected self. But their father helped them understand something. They cannot return to you, only to recover that feeling. They must become that honest person independently. Otherwise, they will depend on your love to keep them courageous. That would become another burden placed on you. You are not responsible for maintaining their growth. You are not the reason they must heal. You may inspire them, but the work belongs to them. Their father said, "Become the person they saw, even if they are no longer there to see it." That may be the wisest thing spoken this morning. If your person follows that advice, their transformation will not depend on whether you take them back. They will communicate more honestly in every relationship. They will stop allowing fear to become a decision. They will learn to tolerate disappointment without abandoning themselves. They will respect family while refusing control. And if your paths return to each other, the relationship will meet a different version of them. But you must also remain anchored in your own growth. The purpose of this message is not to place you back into waiting. Do not pause your life because your person finally spoke to their father. A conversation is meaningful. It is not a complete future. Continue living, continue building peace, continue allowing new opportunities to reach you. What is truly meant for you will not require you to remain emotionally frozen. If your person is sincere, they will catch up through consistent action. You will not need to chase them. You will not need to decode silence. You will not need to convince their family of your worth. Your person will take responsibility for their side. That is how healthy love works. Each person carries their own courage. Perhaps you answer their message. Your person may ask to call. The conversation begins carefully. They tell you what happened this morning. They describe sitting across from their father. They admit they said your name. They tell you they confessed the love, the fear, and the regret. Then they reveal the statement their father heard: "I did not lose them because they stopped loving me. I lost them because I kept asking them to love me through my silence." Those words may bring emotion to the surface. Your person finally understands. You did not leave because the bond was meaningless. You left because the way it was being lived became unbearable. Your person may apologize. A genuine apology should not sound like this: "I am sorry, but my family pressured me." It should sound like, "My family pressure was real, but I chose not to communicate. I understand how that hurt you." A genuine apology does not erase responsibility with context. It holds both. They can explain their wounds without using those wounds to excuse the pain they caused. You are allowed to ask questions. Ask what situation has ended. Ask what boundaries have been established. Ask whether the family now knows the truth. Ask whether another person is still involved. Ask what your person will do the next time pressure appears. Do not fear direct questions. Real love does not collapse under clarity. If they become defensive, pay attention. If they become vague, slow down. If they ask you to trust without evidence, protect your peace. But if they answer with humility, accept your pace, and remain consistent over time, perhaps the conversation is opening a healthier chapter. Their father may eventually want to speak with you. That possibility should not create pressure. You do not need to prove your worth to anyone. Your person's family may need time to understand the full story, but your relationship cannot be built on winning everyone's approval. Respect matters. Healthy communication matters. Approval is not the foundation. The foundation must exist between you and your person: truth, consistency, boundaries, accountability, emotional safety. Without these, even the strongest connection will continue breaking under pressure. With them, love has something stable to stand on. Your person opened up to their father this morning, because silence had finally become more painful than honesty. They said you were the person who saw them. They said you never asked them to abandon anyone. They said you deserved better than uncertainty. They said they still love you. And most importantly, they admitted that loving you privately was not enough. Now, they must show whether they can love you with courage. That is the question this story leaves in their hands. The question in your hands is different. Can you remain open to truth without abandoning the person you have become? You can. You can listen and remain wise. You can feel emotion and remain grounded. You can forgive and still require change. You can love someone without handing them unlimited access to your heart. This is mature love. It is not cold. It is not cruel. It is love protected by truth. Before you leave this message, place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly. Release the belief that you were difficult to choose. You were not difficult. Your person was afraid of the courage choosing honestly required. Release the belief that your boundary destroyed the connection. Your boundary may have been the very thing that forced truth to enter. Let the belief that you must decide everything today. Let actions reveal what words have begun. If this message reached you at the right moment, write in the comments: I choose honest, courageous, and consistent love. Let those words become your promise to yourself. Like this video if you felt the truth inside this message. Subscribe and stay connected, because the next revelation may show what your person plans to do after finally telling their father everything. And remember this: their father now knows your name. He knows you cared. He knows your person was afraid. But knowing the truth is only the beginning. The love that deserves your future will not remain a private confession, spoken inside one room. It will become a consistent choice made in the open, day after day.